Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the first Garage series for SAP Cloud Platform for 2019. Welcome. Hope everybody had a great holiday season and you're ready to get back into some enablement on SAP Cloud Platform. As you can probably see, or maybe not see, sporting the SAP Cloud Platform t-shirt, ready to go. Knowledge coming your way right now. And so today's topic is mobile cards. We've got, I think, some good content lined up for you. We're going to walk through the creation of a really simple card at the very beginning of the presentation, which is a little bit different than the previous formats. We're going to do 4 to 5 minutes of a little explanation of what's going on in and around that and some context. And then we're going to build a second card, which will be a little bit more complicated with some data binding. So as you already know, we always kind of present the people that are with you today. So of course, myself, Scott Dillon, I'm with the Center of Excellence for SAP Cloud Platform. All things Cloud Platform all the time. If you have any questions, you can email me. You can send me a tweet, no problem. And then today on the phone, our special guest, our mechanic in the garage, is Matt Carrier. Matt, what do you do for SAP?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, all. I am a product manager for SAP Cloud Platform Mobile Services with particular area focus on SAP Mobile Card Kit.
Awesome. How long have you been working for SAP?
18 years now.
Awesome. So a lot of experience in there. And Andrew Lee. Andrew, what do you do for SAP?
Hey, good afternoon. I'm a development expert working on mobile cards as well.
Awesome. And Mr. Derek Hayford, you're not a stranger to this venue, Derek. You've been helping us out with quite a few of these. But for the people that are hearing you for the first time, what do you do for SAP?
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, my name is Derek Hayford. I am a solution engineer focused on SCP.
Awesome. So out meeting customers, telling people how things work, similar to myself. And so we are going to just a little something we're going to try here. We've created a LinkedIn group called SAP Cloud Platform in the Garage Virtual Series. We're going to just try it out and see how it goes. So if you find yourself in and around LinkedIn and have a question, you want to throw a question there, we can. We just created it a couple of weeks ago. So if you want to go in and take a look at that, you're more than welcome. And as everybody knows that's in here for the first time, we always do just a little poll at the beginning. This takes no more than 30 seconds because that's as long as I leave it on the screen. So feel free to just interact with that and say whether or not this is your first time in the Garage event. And that'll just give us a little bit of insight with respect to the people that we are getting in. This is your first time, so 100% said no. That's unusual. Normally it's like 60-40, 50-50. So that means we have some return members, which is amazing, which I think that tells me we're doing something right, which is good. We will ask one other poll question. Are you currently using mobile services? And this will just give us a little bit of context for how we present the information today. Again, no more than 30 seconds. And as you may have heard or may have not heard, we did a little, we did a Facebook live chat about a week ago. We kind of covered, the umbrella of mobile services, of which mobile cards is included in there, and Matt will go through that just a little bit today. So, okay, so we have 50-50 of the people on the phone are already exposed to mobile services, which is great. So what we're going to do, without further ado, we're going to jump right in. So we're going to, like I said, we're going to change the format a little bit. I'm going to share my screen, and then if somebody could just, you may or may not have noticed, there is a group chat where you can talk to us, and if you have questions, please put them in the Q&A. But for general comments, like hello, Daniel from Palo Alto, welcome. But what we want to do right now is pop in and create a mobile card. So our goal, if we can do it, is to let you know how to get your first mobile card activated and deployed to your mobile phone within 10 minutes. But there is a prerequisite for you to do. So while we're kind of walking you through this first piece, if you haven't already, go onto your phone. So in my case, it's an iPhone. Go to the App Store and do a search for the SAP Mobile. So Matt, you see my screen, I assume?
Yes, I can.
All right, so we all know how this works, right? I'm I'm going to pop into, as if I was starting this right from scratch, cloudplatform.sap.com. And I'm going to log in, because that's how all these sessions start. Same way, try to be consistent, show people how to get there. And so for the people that are not familiar, then we have these two environments, the Cloud Foundry trial, the Neo trial. Today we're going to be using the Neo trial. And the next session we'll do will be on messaging. We'll probably have to use the Cloud Foundry one, but for today it's the Neo one. And then from here, like we did in our previous sessions, you typically find the services that you want to use inside the cloud platform for the cockpit underneath this services tab. So from there, it's about 10 after 1 or getting close to 10 after 1. I'm hoping that in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we will be able to have a card delivered to my phone. And if you follow along, and I think this one really, you could follow along pretty easily, you can do the same. So Matt, from here, walk me through, my friend, how we get to the point of having this first card delivered to our phone.
Sure. So first, based on the poll response, it looks like some of you may need to enable the SAP Cloud Platform Mobile Services. So if you've highlighted services on the left-hand side, you can see on the right the list of services. Now, what I recommend is in the search area on the right, next to all categories, type mobile.
Do that. I'm with you so far, Matt.
Okay. And you'll see mobile. You'll see mobile services. Click on mobile services, STD for standard. And in here, we just want to verify that everybody has this green, or if it's not green, go ahead and click enabled. And it usually just takes a minute to get that enabled.
Right. Okay.
So we'll let everybody click on that, and we'll get everybody enabled. Now, as we're waiting for those who are following along to get the service enabled, for the purpose of today's demonstration, the purpose of the trial environments, all the roles and responsibilities, all the administrative rights are defined, are set up automatically. There's nothing else we're going to need to do within the cockpit. Now, what I'd like you to do, I presume most people's services is already enabled. Scott, I'd like you to go down there underneath Take Action and go to the Go to Service URL.
All right. And I think it's just while this page is showing up, and I'm finding my trial environment pretty slow this morning. But I think one of the things that's worth mentioning here is that when we did the Facebook Live session about a week ago, we talked about mobile services, and what we're showing people now is how to navigate to the place where those mobile services are managed in their entirety. Right? It's not just for mobile cards.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're looking at here is the administrative starting point for SAP Cloud Platform Mobile Services. And as a refresher for the people who do have it enabled, and for those who are just now getting to it, mobile services, this admin interface, it's really a full-featured mobile app development platform. And our goal is to make it very easy to develop apps. And when I say this, this starting point will let you quickly create apps of many types, from native apps, hybrid apps, web apps. But today we're going to be talking about these micro mobile apps. So it gives you that ability to not only create them, but to operate them in data centers around the world. So to get started, Scott, I think we should explain a little about the architecture of this project and what we're going to work on today. So with that, on the left-hand side, let's talk about destinations.
Sure.
So click on destinations. In this, Cloud Platform Mobile Services world, every mobile app needs a destination. And, what a destination definition is essentially telling, Cloud Platform Mobile Services, how do I get to this data service endpoint? Where is the API I'm trying to access? And really, how am I going to authenticate the users of this mobile app that I'm creating? So the good thing is, for today's exercise, we're not going to have to do anything. We're going to use one called SAP CP Mobile Services. So Scott, if you could type that up in the search, you could say SAP CP. Yep. Now, a little background about this. This is a sample data service. Now, you guys, anybody who's running Cloud Platform, anyone who just enabled Cloud Platform Mobile Services, this is available. This is running by default for you. And you can equate it to that historic Northwind style database. You'll see in just a moment, this database has, entity sets for things like customers, suppliers, locations, products, sales orders, etc. So I just wanted to highlight, I think it's important for you guys to understand what we're working with today. We're going to be connecting to this sample data service, but regardless of the app style or the application type you're going to create, you're going to need to create a destination and tell the destination how it's going to authenticate the users of this app.
Right. And so I just want to recap there, Matt. So a lot of people, even if they haven't used mobile cards, a lot of people start with Fiori, building a custom app. And of course, SAP Cloud Platform provides a quote unquote connectivity layer, and SAP has published some scenarios and some documentation, and it's very prescriptive about how customers connect an application running in the cloud to a backend through the cloud connector. And then, so the cloud connector's underneath, and you have this destination concept on top, which to me is almost like an alias that points to a backend. Because quite frankly, a mobile app or a mobile card or a UI5 app would be pretty boring if it didn't bring back data. So 100%, what we're showing here is very consistent with the mobile development kit that we've showed in the past and some of the other presentations we've done, where the destination is basically a way for us to point to a back-end system. And here we basically have a list, which is interesting, on the left-hand side of all the destinations that are available to people or to the administrators that would be building a mobile card, right?
Yep, absolutely. And,
right,
frankly,
good.
Through a lot of our learning tutorials and blogs, you're going to see that this is some great data to build sample mobile apps from. So I just wanted to highlight the role of destinations. Now let's go into the primary administrative interface for mobile cards. And so you're going to do that on the left-hand side by clicking mobile applications and go into mobile cards.
All right, I'm on my way.
And while that loads, I think, before we jump right in and start delivering that first card that we promised, I want to just, quickly look into this sample data set and kind of show the folks on the line some of the entity sets that are available in here. So within the mobile cards administrator, you see these tabs going across the right-hand side, right about the middle of your screen. You can click on features.
Mm-hmm.
And as that loads, you'll see underneath assigned features, you'll see sample backend. You can go ahead and click that sample backend.
Okay.
All right. And so you can see here on the right-hand side, you can see entity sets. If you hit that drop down, you can see a tremendous number of entity sets that we could play around with for any of the mobile applications that you might want to build. Whether it's mobile cards or a native app or a mobile development kit app, you can see there's a lot of information in here. Now, to kind of browse some of this information, let's go back. Let's keep it on customers. You can see that there's properties for city, country, date of birth, email address, first name, last name, etc. Now, I'd like everybody on the left-hand side, you see the runtime metadata URL?
Mm-hmm.
Let's copy that into, the one right below it, not the metadata, the one right below it. Runtime metadata URL that starts with HTTPS. Yep. Mm-hmm. Let's actually copy that into memory, and let's open up another browser tab. And I'd like you to, get an idea of some of the data available in here. So $sign metadata is a service document. Let's remove the $sign metadata and change that to customers. And then the scenario I was thinking that we should work with today is let's create a mobile app for what's called a service individual who on a daily basis delivers his top 5 customers. So each day it goes out and queries this data set and delivers the top 5 customers. So you can see here we have, that's scrollable. We probably have, dozens of customers available in here. Now let's limit this. Let's ask it a question. Let's go question mark, $, top equals 5. Let's return the top 5. So if you type,
this is just so for people that are not too familiar with this kind of notation. For me, I kind of equate this to SQL for OData and REST, whereby I can put a qualifier and reduce the result set coming back. Slightly different notation than SQL, but same idea. You have a result set. It's kind of like SQL for the web, right?
Yep. And let's add
perfect.
some formatting to this. So let's format this in JSON. So just get an idea, because I'll reference this a little later as we go through this kind of hands-on. Let's go and do a and sign.
This one here from earlier. Perfect.
Yep. And then you can do format. So and $format equals JSON. So here you can just see those top 5 customer results formatted in JSON, which is what the mobile cards service is looking for.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
And
so you can
basically
just
we can see here, for people that are not haven't played with JSON too much, basically what we're seeing is we've got an array of results coming back, and which is basically, here. It's basically all the information about a customer repeated as many times. And by putting in this format JSON top 5, we're limiting the result set that comes back in this array, right?
Yep.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Okay.
For in the interest of time, let's just deliver 5 cards.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't want to have 100 cards coming out. Yeah, good idea.
So let's get back in and let's get to creating our very first card. And before we do a customer card, I'm going to show folks on the phone or folks on the conference on how they can connect their mobile cards application to their trial environment and deliver a first card. So I'd like you to go to Template Manager.
Okay.
Now, Template Manager is, you'll see as I give an overview here in about 10 minutes, Template Manager is this great collection of templates. And so the skills necessary to build mobile cards are usually perfectly suited for kind of basic front-end developers, people who have HTML or CSS experience and can modify a query somewhat. But Template Manager helps simplify that even further. So within Template Manager, we have templates that work with many SAP systems, from SuccessFactors to the SAP Inbox to Ariba to you name it. Now, what I want to do to deliver the first card is we have in here their samples. And so you can initiate a wizard using one of our samples. I'd like you to search for one called Sample Welcome Card.
Sample, so people just scroll down, sample product template, sample template welcome card right here.
Yep. And just to the right of that, I want you to click that little document icon, and that initiates our wizard to create your first card. And really, you can use these templates as a starting point for any card that you'd like to create, and we're going to do that as we do the customer cards. But I want to get your first card down, so click that create icon. It initiates a wizard. This template, this card that we're going to deliver, essentially is information for the end user on how to navigate the mobile cards app. So give it a name, Garage Customer 2019, perfect.
Okay.
And simply click Save.
Okay.
And Scott, it's going to prompt you.
What's that about this lock card?
So the concept of locking a card allows you to share this with others, or allows you to publish this, and someone would have to purposefully unlock it prior to being able to edit it. So kind of reduces the number of errors that you could.
Gotcha.
So it doesn't matter what you save. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now let's get your mobile device connected. So I don't know if you have that ability to share your iPhone, but I'd like you to click the APIs tab. So everybody here see that APIs tab. We have a very cool way of registering the mobile cards app that you downloaded from iTunes or Google Play.
We're going to try to share my phone. So I'm just going to give me 30 seconds here to set this up. Everybody, bear with me. And if we can do this quickly, then we're going to make it happen.
All right. And so what we're doing here, so for iPhone users, you simply just use the native camera application on your phone. On some Androids, you may have to use a QR code reader. But what Scott just did is he opened up his camera. He pointed his camera at that QR code on the left because it's an iPhone. And what it does is it recognizes that you have that app installed, and it's going to send the configuration string to the app to automatically configure that app for you. So go ahead. Now for Android, most of your Samsung devices, the camera works. There's some models of Android that might require a QR code reader. So as this goes through this registration process, it says, hey, you just connected to your cloud platform mobile services instance. It's going to ask you to authenticate, and looks like Scott isn't going to share his password with us. So it's refreshing a little.
I've only made that mistake once so far, so I haven't done that again. All right, so I'm going to hit authorize and go to town here. All right, downloading cards. Wow, okay, so that was definitely less than 10 minutes. I clocked that at about 7 minutes from the time we started with the creating the card to the time it actually got delivered. So everybody on the phone has zero excuse as to not have a mobile card. And this might be a really good challenge for folks. For the first 2 people that send me a picture, well, actually, no, for the first 2 people that tweet me, Scott Dillon 1 with a screenshot of their phone showing this card, we'll send you a t-shirt. Okay, so let's go on from there. Okay, so Matt, we have this really cool mobile card. Tell me what I'm looking at here now.
Okay, so if you click done, I can kind of walk you through the basics of this card. So this card is very basic in nature. It's really just a pictogram of how you could interact with a card. But the basics of any card are that cards have a front and cards have a backside. So as you look at target applications that might be suitable for mobile cards, think of simple business processes, workflows, simple pieces of information that would fit on that front or backside of a playing card or a baseball card, for instance. Right. So, Scott, you can navigate. Now, we're going to get into some more complex examples, and I'll show you some great SuccessFactors cards. I can show you the Inbox by SAP. I can show you a number of cards with much greater capabilities. But the basics of the navigation are that you can scroll up and down, so you're not limited to how far you can scroll. Cards can go that can have a front and a back side. So if you click that elliptical in the bottom right-hand corner, that introduces the back side of that card. If you go to done, and let's look at that front side again, cards can have actions that we're going to...
Before I do that, so underneath this notifications tab, I noticed this morning when I was playing around, I saw this Geofence. What's that about?
Thanks, Amit.
Thanks, Amit. Well done, Amit. Send me your address, okay? Probably instant message me or PM me your address, and we'll get that out to you. Well done, Amit. So Geofence, what would that be, and why would I use that?
So since I haven't provided a big overview of the capabilities yet, there's a lot of capabilities that can be built into these microapps, including integration with maps, geofences for location, reminders. So there's 2 types of geofencing capabilities and reminder capabilities. So an administrator can define a geofence, and we have customers who've built facility cards. So as you approach one of their facilities, and you can set, the default's 0.6 kilometers from a facility, that card comes into the foreground. Now, nice. But this is a end user perspective if they want to add additional notifications. So we have some examples of customers who have tied into their content management systems and are deploying content and company news, company benefits, company discounts into there. So users can set reminders in addition to server set reminders.
Very cool. Just one other thing I wanted to ask you about, So down here on the bottom, because I'm as some of you know, I'm a pretty big fan of what SAP has done with UI5 and the large varying amount of things you can do with that. And here on the Launchpad, as an example, we see add to mobile. Now, this is interesting because add to mobile could have a lot of different interpretations, but in this particular case, this is relevant to mobile cards, correct?
Yes, it is. So the mobile cards application itself knows how to render Fiori Smart applications. So we have a plugin that can be installed on your Fiori Launchpad, whether it's Fiori Launchpad Cloud Edition or the Fiori Launchpad on premise, and it's essentially a shell plugin that gives that a capability in the Me icon. So if in your Fiori Launchpad there's the Me icon, and actually, Scott, I'll share this. It gives you an add to mobile button, and you can essentially, end users can create their own cards. So anything that's an object view or an overview page, which our plugin automatically detects, we can add, Fiori Launchpad tiles to your mobile card stack.
Right. I mean, to me, that's absolutely phenomenal, right? And this is one of the reasons, I think a big reason for me when people start saying things like, oh, how do the services work together with an SAP Cloud Platform? So you have a customer using S4, they're building custom Fiori content, they're using the Fiori elements, which is, our floor plan guide to creating Fiori content. They build that content out, they put it in the Launchpad, and all of a sudden, it's not low code or, close to no code. It's zero code. You could just take that, add to mobile, and voila, you have something running in the mobile cards app, which I think is fantastic, especially since you can, like you said, you can hit the action button down the bottom. And if it's an actionable card, it becomes very simple to do. So very quick time to market. So it's, low hanging fruit for me. Anyway, okay, so let's move on here. So we got the welcome card. So that was in about 10 or so minutes to get the first welcome card down, and Amit is proof that you can do it that fast. So that's pretty cool. So I think what we'll do now, I'm going to pass it back to you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, Matt. We'll let you do a really quick, 4 or 5 minute introduction to mobile cards with a few PowerPoints to kind of give people some overall context, and then we'll build our second card. So 5 minutes, Matt. Let's go. Let's see what you got.
All right, so let me see the live view. All right, so the way I describe mobile cards is it's a micro app development platform. So the beauty of this is there's an app that's available on iTunes or Google Play. We also plug into a very popular social media client in China called WeChat. We also have support for the Apple Watch. But you can think of it as a micro app development platform that allows you to quickly create these micro apps and deploy them into that native application that you just downloaded. So I think most of you are familiar with, the iOS Apple Wallet. I think mobile cards shares a lot of similarities to that, in that it's a repository for things that are really important to you. Where, for me in my Apple Wallet, I have concert tickets, boarding passes, like bank cards, hotel and loyalty cards. We're similar, but we're built for the enterprise. So we're secure authenticated access, encrypted access to very important, work and business data. So for example, cards can be created from a user's Fiori Launchpad. We have, I think, 8 example SuccessFactors cards for things like my accrued vacation, my paychecks, my to-dos, my employees. We have cards for Ariba, Concur, Fieldglass, S4, the SAP Inbox. And I'll show you some of those in our template management system that we just touched on briefly. Now, I think what I'll do now is stop sharing this and let me know if you can see my my mobile device.
Okay. I'll, myself and or somebody will definitely provide that feedback, I hope. Just give us an indication, somebody in the group chat, if you see Matt's screen. Hello, anybody in the group chat see Matt's screen? I don't know. Nobody's saying yes or no. Okay, yeah, we can see it. So let's keep going, Matt. This is great.
Okay. Now I just need to take this out of. Need to get to my iPhone. Dang it.
Yeah, so we can see your mobile device.
Okay, perfect. So you'll see in the bottom right-hand corner you have the SAP Mobile Cards application. Now, like I said, it's a great index. It's essentially a briefcase for the enterprise. If you can see in here, I have cards for my team, my timesheets, payslips, to-dos. I have business and marketing information from the company. I have expense reports. I have information on the company holidays. So it's a great tool for simple workflows like time off requests or approvals, vacation stuff. Now, the basics, as we showed, which the welcome card isn't necessarily the best. Cards can have a front side and a back side. This one essentially is connecting to a cloud-based content management system. You'll see cards have a side, cards have a back side. We can also tie into, if you look to the Today screen, you can see we do have a plugin for the Today screen. when we talked about cards having actions, and I'm actually going to show you how we can build actions into these customer cards. This is a card that reaches out to SuccessFactors and deploys all my reports. It deploys a card for each one of my reports. So Carol Niles, you can see front side, back side. If there was a phone number in here or an email address, let me find a good one with that. I can action that from this. Let's see. I'm going to go to consulting days. This is a card. This is an approval request for a discount. This happens to be from Hybris, the Cloud for Customer. This card is automatically generated when a sales individual requests a discount greater than 10%. It automatically generates a card notification to the approving manager. So you can see, see the probability of close at 30%, requesting a significant discount. Now through that left-hand corner, I can say accept, reject, share, revise. So I can actually approve or reject these from the mobile device. Now the other cool thing is deep linking. So if I say open details, that we actually have a pointer that opens it up in the context of the native app, SAP Cloud for Customer. And I don't have it configured on my device, but you can see it launches app-to-app integration. So with that, I want you to keep in mind that we can everything we're talking about. Users get offline access, they get push notifications, admins can build in geofencing capabilities and reminders and more. So let's get back to Scott sharing his desktop, and let's kick off this card creation for the customer story.
Yeah, we're doing really good on time here, Matt. So I just wanted to just kind of recap what I heard as my interpretation, because what I hear sometimes, and even on our Facebook live chat last week, one of the gentlemen that attended asked if we could connect to non-SAP systems. And so, and clearly from what you just said, the answer is yes. And it's not, the cards that can be created, it's not just, ECC or S4. It clearly can be SuccessFactors, other non-ABAP systems, point number one. And it could be a completely different backend, right? As long as you've got the connectivity through a service, which is what we were setting up with the destination, we can bring data back from that system and have all these cards from all these different systems in one place. Is that accurate?
Yeah. Thank you for highlighting that. So it is any OData service or any, whether it's SAP or third-party API endpoint that can return JSON is a great candidate for mobile cards.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
Yes.
Okay, so let's get back to it. I'm going to share my screen again. And hopefully people can now see my screen. Maybe somebody can just send me a quick message, let me know that they can see my screen. And I will go back to the mobile services.
Okay. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to recommend that we start from Template Manager, or let's go to Templates, Card Templates.
Okay.
Left-hand side.
Yep.
And I'd like you to create a new card. So do you see to the right of Card Templates 3, you see that new document item right there. Create a new card.
So just before we do this, let's just tell people what we're about to do. So what we want to do now in this case is we want to build a card, not just with some static text, but we want to build a card that is associated with a service, and then we can pick and choose the data elements from that service to be rendered on the card, correct?
Correct.
All right, cool.
So in the story that we created, we have a service individual with a mobile phone, whether it's iOS or Android. It is a design once deployed of any. So iOS, Android, WeChat. We're going to query this sample data service customers for their top 5 customers and deliver each one of those customers and their information into the form of a card, and do that on a daily basis.
Awesome. And I think you also said it runs offline, right? Just for the record.
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Okay. All right. I got a name in here. What else I got to do? Okay.
So let's go and we've defined a destination. So as we define this template, we've got a card name. The next important part is defining a destination, and that destination is essentially, it's SAP CP Mobile Services. That is our Northwind equivalent. That is our sample data service that we're working with. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look up top, you see that editor tab?
Mm-hmm.
Click the editor tab. So above, yep, there you go. So if you wanted to start from scratch, you absolutely could. If you think of the cards I showed you, essentially that's HTML and the JSON data response. So you absolutely have the ability to create, handcraft the HTML and CSS for this. Now, what I recommend is go back to the info tab, and we're going to leverage one of our sample templates to help hit the ground running. So I'd like you to go to template source and go to template manager.
Okay.
And I recommend as a starting point, we have, so what this gives you now that you're in this view of template manager, when you hit that drop down, let's select the basic. So, yep. If you notice, these are the same templates that you saw from the template management application. So let's choose the basic mobile card template and click OK.
All right, that's easy.
Yeah, notice our destination got changed. So let's change the destination back to SAP CP Mobile Services.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So now if you notice, if you click on the editor tab, you'll notice that because you're leveraging that template, you have a very nicely formatted framework for a mobile card, included comments within the HTML and CSS on how you could change the styling, the colors, the font sizes, etc. So that's the reason we recommend you use some of these example templates. Now, if you go back to the info tab.
Okay, and just for the record as well, so a lot of times, when I'm going out meeting customers across North America, they'll say, we've thought about using some of the stuff in SCP, but surely it must be based on ABAP. So when I'm in here, with the editor, this doesn't look like ABAP to me. This looks like the kind of stuff that anybody would learn, in a 2-year HTML web programming course or less, for that matter. But there's no ABAP here. Just so people are completely clear about that, because sometimes they want to know what skill sets they would need. So if you were building a mobile cards app and you had a service that pointed to a backend SAP system, once that's been created, the types of skills you would need are really this skill set to build, to write this HTML CSS code, right?
Right.
All right, moving on. Sorry, I'm blabbing a bit. Let's go.
No. So that's in the template details. You define the name. You define how frequently you want the card UI refreshed, the destination. Now, on the card template on the right-hand side, you essentially define the query behavior, or how frequently, how are we connecting this backend? Are we supplying it a query? Are we watching a web page? We're going to, for the purpose of this, there's 5 different card types, and it's well documented in our documentation, but we're going to use automatic instance generation.
Okay.
And what automatic instance generation does allows us to supply a query to this backend data service, and by using a collection identification, we can determine what constitutes the end of an array and the start of a new array. So for the query, I'd like you to, if you remember in that subsequent tab we had open, so you have one open right up here, the query is going to be everything after that service definition. So it would be the / mobile services HCPMS. Yes, I want you to copy everything after the .com, including the /.
Right. Okay. And for people that are used to or have had some exposure building a UI5 Fiori app, they're used to this because they have to set up their UI5 Fiori apps in a similar way, with the destination pointing to an endpoint, and then the query reference sometimes inside the UI5 app. But this makes sense. So I can just post that in there.
Yep. So if you scroll, the query should start with, so it's not going to have the HTTPS, trial number, trial dispatch, trial.com. It's going to start with a / mobile services. So it presumes that, .com, and it says, here's a query we're going to append to that. So I'd like you to hit check.
Okay. All right. Just was successful. All right. Looking good.
Okay. Now we're going to use collection handling. This is an OData sample service. And so I'd like you to change that to collection handling. And we're going to explain this in a little detail. So there's 2 key attributes here And we don't actually have to populate this. Our service will populate this for us, but we do want it to tell a use a collection. So we want to say, hey, we got a result set back, but within this result set, we want to see where that collection starts, and we want to identify the key entity paths. So if you go back to that browser you have, and again, this will be set. I want everybody to set the collection hand to use collection, but just leave that blank. You can see here, and I need to expand my screen a little so I can see yours. The collection root is going to be $.d.results. So that's the root of that. Now we can identify the key entity path for each one of these result sets, or each one of these, customers, by d._metadata.id or d. It looks like customer ID is the same. So that helps the service identify that key entity path. Each one of these, customer IDs is a unique customer instance. So if you go back to the admin console,
okay, I'm there.
And click on the scroll up a little on the right-hand bar, so I can see you want to go to sample data. Now we have this cool tool that pulls in. What it does, it dynamically reaches out. So you say get data under live data.
Right. So basically, just as we're doing that, whoop, something didn't like that very much. Try one more time. Better spin a fluke. Yep. Strange. Okay. So that's there. But I mean, just to comment on that for 2 seconds. So this URL is the result of us populating that previous screen. It brings it in and says, okay, let us try that and bring back the data. So if anybody on the phone was using their own, data service, then it's important to know how you get access to that JSON structure, because you need to format it in a way that we know how to generate the card. Because the whole point of that configuration screen we were just on is to configure a query that will bring back the right number of cards and then be able to get access to the structure so we can pull the data out, which we'll see in a minute. Right?
Yep. And the sample data is important. As you see, as we go kind of sequentially across these tabs, you'll see the results here. You see things like city, country, customer ID, first name, last name, phone number. Now, as we go across the tabs here, you're going to see we use handlebar annotations within the editor to identify fields that we would like to bring over to cards. And so we're going to show that quite quickly. Now, Scott, if we go to the Assets tab, I think you
grab one quickly there. Yeah, perfect. Okay.
Okay. So for you on the phone, you don't need to do this step if you like. We can tell you how to format it in the HTML. The comments actually tell you how to format and the best way to format these images. But if you wanted to add custom images, custom logos, etc., you would upload them here. Then you reference them in the next tab. So that editor tab that we previously clicked on. So Scott, if you could click on editor.
Okay.
Here's where you define the front and the back side of the mobile card. So you can see HTML is currently highlighted. If you click on CSS, you can see that you can apply a style sheet. And again, by leveraging some of our custom examples, you can see that each one of these are commented to tell you, all right, well, if you want linear gradient, you want it dark blue in the upper right, cascading to something else, we show you how to do all that. Now, click back on HTML.
Okay. Okay,
and then you can see template preview on the right-hand side. You can see you can actually flip to the back and define the HTML for the back side by clicking that flip to the back. Yep.
Okay, that's cool.
But now let's hop right in and let's start delivering that customer information. So if we go through here, you can see line 7 is where we have that logo.png. And today that logo.png references mobile cards. Since you on the folks on the conference probably didn't do anything, let's leave that be. Let's go to line 11 and let's change mobile cards, that kind of default subject line, to SCP garage or customer Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. SAP Garage. I like that. Good title.
Okay. Now,
instant change. That's nice. You can see the fact that it, you type something correctly and it's not out of whack, so you actually see it in the pane.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Now, the important part, and the reason that we bring that sample data in, is we use this handlebar annotation concept, which is pretty popular in HTML. And by using handlebar annotations, if you identically match, so if you were to go back to the sample data, just click on that tab real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see first name, last name, and it's capital F, capital N, capital L, capital N. Go back to editor. What we'll do is we'll use handlebar annotation and map, and I'll show you the reason we do this. If you go, so do you see line 19? It says SAP Cloud Platform. Let's remove that and replace it with a handlebar, like open handlebar, two of them.
Curly brace.
Yep. And then let's do last with a capital L, last name, or whichever.
Yep, that's fine.
Yep, and then two closed handlebars. Okay, and then on line 22, let's change that to handlebar, first name.
All right.
Okay. Now, in some of the cards I showed you how cards in the left-hand corner can have actions. So if you go down to line 44, here's another good reason to use one of these example templates. We have a number of class references that can be used. So, for example, C to G underscore phone number, and they're defined in here. So you can see, if I wanted to add action to this, I could remove this. And if I wanted to embed that phone number, so in my customer card, it pulls the phone number down, you could replace that static HTML reference of, 208-555, replace that with the phone number, and I think it's capital P, capital N. So do handlebar. There you go. Now, the reason we use that handlebar.
Yep, looks good. Okay, yep. Looks good.
Now, the reason we use that handlebar annotation is we provide that so you can look at the data mapping tab now.
Okay, data mapping. Oh, I see. So it's already gone out and picked those.
Yeah, so you can see that anything we've annotated with the handlebar annotation, it looks to that sample data result set, and it says, all right, well, we know that the key entity path is customer ID, so let's look at D, which is the results last name, D dot first name, and D dot phone number. So you can see in the card preview, it essentially...
This is pretty helpful because we know even before we try to download or get onboarded with that card that we're actually pulling in the right data from the right structure, correct?
Yep, correct.
Very nice.
Great way to preview what's going to come down to that card. Now, I don't know if you wanted to get fancy and try to add that image.
Let's just take 2 seconds and see if we can throw it in there. Now, I'm not a HTML person, but I'm going to grab this guy. And if we were to throw that maybe, I don't know, what do you think, right here before card content?
I would say it would need to be in card content, so maybe right after main body. Yeah, so like line, 33. But then you need to change the reference to that.
Like that?
Yep,
cool.
And then you can
try
it. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, see it there. Perfect. We know it works.
Okay.
No smoke and mirrors here, Matt, in the garage. People know that. Like it's real time. We make a mistake, it shows. All right, so let's do it. All right, cool. All right, so let's get this deployed.
Yep, sounds good. So now you can simply click save. Click save. And if you can share your iPhone.
Beautiful. I will do that. Let me just make sure that my settings are, of course, off again. And let me just get the Reflector app working one more time. Bit of a process here. Got this guy going. And okay, now what? Start the Cards app?
Yep, I'll open the Mobile Cards app. Now this card is different than the type welcome. This is a card that a user would subscribe to. So this will be something that you can go into Mobile Cards. And for those of you following along live, subscriptions are managed in that upper right-hand corner. So you see the plus icon, you can click the plus icon.
Mm-hmm.
And go to, you show the one that you're subscribed to. That's the welcome card we get. So now let's go to the one you just created, and that you called that Garage Customer Card 2019.
Yes, sir.
In best practice, I would have had you name that something slightly different.
Yeah, I probably should have did that. But it downloaded the 5 cards, or it says there's 5 cards available right away, which is pretty cool. So I know something has happened. And voila, bam, look at that. 5 cards showing data right off the top.
Okay,
I gotta say, that's pretty impressive. Even for me, I find that's impressive.
So
that's
now,
so cool.
If you remember, we added that class reference for phone number. So see that even though it's not a legitimate phone number, you hit that action item, and you can call that number, SMS that number. You can email the email address in there. You can show related cards, which you wouldn't, or you can open details, which is a URL we embedded in that example template. So those class references are really helpful in that that sample template. Now,
very cool. That's awesome. Very nice. So basically we went all the way from, so let's just recap, and then I want to show one last thing, Matt, that we discussed earlier. So we had the static card, a welcome card that as soon as we started up the Mobile Cards app, it brought that down. Number 2, we just showed people how to quickly take a template that was basically attached to the data defined by a destination. We're able to map that in, also using a template, some pretty quick and easy handlebar notation, and put that in there. And now I want to show people one last thing, if I can. So for those of you that have been on our previous sessions, you know that we did a workflow scenario that involved a registration form. And so for those of you that were on the sessions in 2018, you know that we created this form. And when we took this form, I just want to make sure my screen is up there. When we took this form, we basically sent it to the workflow engine in the cloud. And when we did that, you'll see the 2 just changed to a 3 here. And so we've got an inbox with 3 items in it. And one of the things that Matt and I wanted to show is that now if we go back here to the plus and we go to all, there's a garage card. Oh, whoops, you're not seeing my screen. Yeah. Sorry. There's a garage card with actions. So what I want to do now is I want to subscribe to that guy, and it's going to download, I hope, it says 2, hoping it's going to be 3 cards. Boom. So I have 3 cards, 1 for each of these items. So now if I go back, I say done, I should see 3 cards that match up with the 3 items that are in that inbox that was generated by the UI5 application that was placed there through the workflow. So now if what we've done is we've assigned...
And Scott, we lost the iPhone share, at least I did. So I don't know if you can share so people can see that you can approve those from the mobile device.
Do you see my phone now?
Yep.
Perfect. Sorry about that. So yeah, so we do have, now we have the 3 cards in the wallet, the garage one that we created this morning or this afternoon. And now we have this workflow where we have 3 cards. And what we did with the help of actually Andrew and Matt is that we basically assigned now the same 2 options that you have in the inbox. We've now got them available via the card, and now I can accept that card right from the phone. And now if I go back here, I'm hoping, survey says, boom, we've just accepted an inbox item based on a workflow, started from a UI5 app through the mobile cards. So we just tied together like 4 SAP Cloud Platform Services all in one nice little package scenario. So that's, I'll just stop sharing my screen for a second. I'll go back to the On24 console because we're right on time today, which is amazing. And I'll just put a quick plug out for the next session we're going to do, Matt, then we'll wrap it up, you and I. So before we just finish, so enterprise messaging will be on the 27th. This is, in my humble opinion, huge for SAP. Anybody that wants to do sort of a bimodal mode 1, mode 2 approach in terms of extending and keeping your core clean and be able to get access to events that happen inside of SAP, this will be the first of 3 different but related sessions that we'll do over the course of this year. This one, events and backend as a service, but we'll do enterprise messaging on the 27th, and then we'll do open connectors on the March 27th. So stay tuned for details on those. So let's just wrap it up, Matt. So today, thank you. First of all, thanks everybody for coming on the phone. And as always, you've got ideas for topics and questions, so you can tweet me, email me, whatever avenue works best. But the idea was get people quickly started with this mobile cards component service that is part of mobile services in general, and show people quickly how they can take, a static card, get it deployed out pretty quickly through the mobile services configuration, and or attach a card to an actual data feed that we use a sample one, but it could just as easily been an SAP service, or it could have just as easily been a SuccessFactors service, and get people getting those notifications on the phone very easily. Did I miss anything as we wrap it up?
No, I think you did a great job, and I think thanks for inviting me. I think if people are interested, there's some great interactive tutorials available on developer.sap.com. So we have a series of probably 11 interactive developer tutorials that are click you through mobilizing things, show you how to create cards with actions and approvals, show you how to use these automatic instance generation cards. There's also a lot of great content on SCN and the blogs for SAP. So people out there have been showing how to mobilize the SAP inbox and step-by-step scenarios for both cloud and on-premise inboxes. But no, thanks, Scott. I appreciate the opportunity today, and it's fun working with you.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for everybody for coming out, and we'll talk to you next month in the garage on February 27th. And stay tuned on Twitter. Talk to you soon. Thanks. You can wrap it up, Jafari.